There are moments in life when words do not speak as loudly as silence, when the pauses between conversations hold more meaning than the sentences themselves. Attraction is not always declared outright. It is often revealed in small gestures, subtle responses, and unspoken connections. When two people feel the same way about each other, the world seems to conspire in their favor, quietly aligning their thoughts, emotions, and even body language. One of the most telling signs of mutual attraction is presence. Not just being in the same room, but truly being there for each other. Imagine sitting across from someone in a crowded cafe. There are dozens of conversations happening, music playing faintly, cups clinking on saucers, yet your attention keeps coming back to one face. And when you finally lock eyes, you realize they were already watching you. That steady attention, free from distraction, tells you something words cannot. It's a shared acknowledgement that your presence has weight in their world, just as theirs does in yours. Another unmistakable sign lies in the rhythm of conversation. When two people are aligned, dialogue doesn't feel forced, it flows. It is less about the topics and more about the energy that fills the space between the words. There is laughter at moments that may not even be that funny to anyone else. There is comfort in silences that would otherwise feel heavy with others. Time disappears in these exchanges because both individuals are not just talking, they are connecting. Mutual attraction also reveals itself through small sacrifices of comfort. When someone instinctively adjusts their schedule to match yours, when they walk a little slower just to keep pace with you, or when they listen with genuine curiosity, even if the subject holds no personal interest for them, you are witnessing something deeper than politeness. It is an unspoken statement: your presence matters enough for me to bend my habits around it. Another layer of evidence is the mirroring effect. Watch closely the next time you're in conversation with someone you suspect shares your feelings. Do they adjust their posture when you lean forward? Do they echo your gestures without realizing it? This is not mimicry. It is a subconscious alignment, a sign that both of you are tuned into the same frequency. It is the body's way of saying, "I am with you," even before my words catch up. A fifth sign appears in vulnerability. People do not expose their doubts, insecurities, or dreams to just anyone. When two individuals trust each other enough to share the raw and unpolished corners of their minds, it is evidence of something more than casual interest. It is the foundation of intimacy. If you notice that you find yourself revealing truths you rarely discuss, and the other person reciprocates, then what exists between you is not one-sided. It is a shared passage into each other's inner world. There is also the unmistakable spark of encouragement. When two people feel the same way, they become each other's quiet champions. It could be in the way they notice your efforts, even the small ones. Perhaps they comment on how your hard work is paying off, or they urge you not to give up when you feel exhausted. These words are not rehearsed. They spring naturally from a place of genuine care. You encourage them. They encourage you. It is a loop of energy that fuels both lives. Perhaps the most mysterious but undeniable sign is the sense of calm you feel together. Attraction is often associated with excitement and nervous energy, but true mutual attraction balances that thrill with an unusual peace. You might feel nervous before seeing them, but once you're with them, everything steadies. It's as if your nervous system recognizes safety in their company. That calm is not accidental. It is a signal that both of you are experiencing the same emotional grounding in each other's presence. Finally, there is the way plans begin to naturally intertwine. When two people are mutually drawn, their futures start to overlap without deliberate intention. You begin to notice them, including you, in their vision of tomorrow, whether in small ways, like suggesting a book you might both read, or in larger ones, like discussing ambitions that involve your participation. This integration is not forced. It flows as if your paths were meant to run parallel all along. To see these signs is not to demand certainty. Human connection is layered, and sometimes signals can be misinterpreted. Yet, when you notice this collection of gestures, attention, flow in conversation, sacrifices of comfort, mirrored gestures, vulnerability, encouragement, calm, and intertwined futures, the probability is high that you are not walking this path alone. The signs are not proof carved in stone, but they are a living testimony written in behavior. And the beauty lies not in merely recognizing these signs, but in valuing them. Too often people chase after grand declarations, missing the small miracles happening daily. If both of you feel the same way, it will not always be revealed in dramatic moments. Instead, it will appear in the quiet consistencies, the shared laughter, the unspoken trust, the comfort in silence. These are the anchors of attraction, the evidence of a bond that grows stronger not through noise but through presence. So, if you find yourself wondering whether the feeling is mutual, look not at their words alone, but at the patterns of care, attention, and energy. The signs are there, woven into the fabric of interaction, waiting for those willing to see. Because when both hearts beat in the same direction, the world has a way of whispering it in the smallest, most undeniable ways. There is something extraordinary about recognizing that two people are drawn toward one another not by chance alone, but by a natural alignment of thought, energy, and purpose. Attraction, when mutual, is not just about admiration. It is about recognition. It feels as if you are meeting someone you were already supposed to know, as though your paths were destined to cross in that very moment. One of the strongest indicators of mutual attraction is attention without demand. Notice how they listen to you. Not the kind of listening where someone is waiting for their turn to speak, but the kind where they lean in, remembering details you didn't even realize you shared. When you mention a small preference, like your favorite snack or a book you once read, they bring it up later, sometimes even surprising you by acting on it. That kind of attentiveness is not casual. It shows they value not just your words, but the essence behind them. Equally important is the unexplainable sense of familiarity. It is almost paradoxical. You may have known them for a short while, yet it feels like you've been speaking to them for years. Mutual attraction often carries this hidden familiarity, as though the relationship bypasses surface, level formalities, and immediately reaches depth. The comfort level is unusual yet welcome. Conversations are not guarded, they are open and natural. That comfort is not one-sided. It thrives because both individuals feel it. Another sign arises in the way your energies balance each other. Mutual attraction is not always about similarity. Sometimes it is about complementing differences. You might be steady where they are spontaneous, reflective where they are bold. Instead of clashing, these differences become points of fascination. Each person feels enriched by the other's presence, and neither feels diminished. That equilibrium is one of the clearest signs that attraction is shared, because it creates a natural harmony in how you experience time together. There is also an undeniable shift in priorities. When two people feel the same way, they begin to reorganize their choices without even noticing. They start carving space in their day, in their schedule, and in their mind. Suddenly, what seemed important yesterday feels less urgent because being available for each other takes precedence. The remarkable part is how seamlessly this happens. There is no sense of burden or obligation. Instead, it feels right, as though prioritizing each other is the most natural thing in the world. Even silence transforms in the presence of mutual attraction. With some people, silence feels awkward, heavy, or even threatening, but with the right person, silence becomes a form of communication. It says, "I am comfortable enough to be still with you." You might sit together without words, yet leave the moment feeling more connected than after hours of small talk with others. That shared silence is one of the most profound indicators of alignment because it reflects trust, comfort, and a deeper form of understanding. Another undeniable sign is subtle protectiveness, not in a controlling sense, but in small gestures that reveal care. They may slow their pace so you don't feel left behind. Notice when you're tired before you mention it, or instinctively step in when something could trouble you. When two people are mutually drawn to each other, this care flows both ways. You find yourself equally attentive to their comfort, their safety, their emotional state. It is not a conscious decision, it simply arises from valuing one another. Humor is another window into shared attraction. Laughter becomes a language only the two of you seem to fully understand. The world may not find the joke funny, but in your shared space, it brings joy. Humor in this sense is not about cleverness, it is about connection. When someone laughs with you in this way, it reflects alignment, not just in thought, but in spirit. And when you both find yourselves reaching for humor to bring lightness into each other's day, the attraction is no longer one-sided. It is woven into the way you interact. Lastly, there is the feeling of anticipation. When two people sense mutual attraction, they carry with them the quiet excitement of looking forward to the next encounter. Whether it is a planned meeting or an unexpected message, there is joy in the simple act of connection. That anticipation is not one-directional, it mirrors back and forth. You can feel it in how quickly they respond, in how their words carry warmth, in how their eyes brighten when they see you. It is the future leaning into the present, a promise without needing to be spoken. When all of these signals come together, attentiveness, familiarity, balanced energies, shifted priorities, comfortable silence, mutual protectiveness, shared humor, and anticipation, you begin to realize something profound. Attraction is not merely a spark. A spark burns out quickly. What mutual attraction creates is a steady flame, one that gives warmth without consuming, one that illuminates rather than blinds. Too often, people doubt themselves, questioning whether what they feel is reciprocated. But if you step back and observe carefully, the truth reveals itself, not through grand gestures, but through repeated consistencies. Mutual attraction writes its story in the rhythm of presence, care, and joy. It is not fragile, it is quietly resilient. And the greatest lesson to draw from this is that such connections deserve gratitude. It is rare to find alignment that flows so naturally. When you recognize it, cherish it. Do not rush to define it in rigid terms, and do not let fear convince you it is an illusion. Instead, allow it to unfold in its time, knowing that when both hearts move in the same direction, the journey itself becomes meaningful, regardless of the destination. Mutual attraction is a gift not because it guarantees perfection, but because it reveals possibility. It shows you that in a world filled with countless interactions, there exists the chance to find someone who truly sees you, values you, and responds with the same depth of feeling. That recognition, subtle yet powerful, can change the way you see yourself and the way you walk forward in life. Every human being longs for connection, not the shallow type that vanishes with time, but the deep kind that feels both rare and undeniable. Mutual attraction, when it reveals itself, is not a matter of luck. It is a profound meeting of two paths that were never meant to stay apart. Recognizing the signs is less about analysis and more about awareness. The evidence is all around if you learn to see it. One of the clearest signs is focus. When two people feel the same way, distractions fade. In a group setting, they may still be engaged with others, but their eyes instinctively return to each other. It is not forced, not deliberate, it is natural. Their attention gravitates to you and yours to them. That mutual focus is not a coincidence. It is the mind acknowledging what the heart already knows. Another undeniable marker lies in subtle actions that go beyond words. You may notice how they find reasons to be near you, choosing the seat closer to yours, lingering a little longer in conversation, or creating small opportunities to share experiences. These actions, though quiet, reveal an intent that cannot be hidden. And when you find yourself doing the very same, it becomes clear the attraction flows in both directions. Mutual attraction also shows itself in encouragement. Life can be heavy, filled with challenges, doubts, and setbacks. But when someone truly values you, they become a voice that reminds you of your strength. Their words uplift, their presence motivates. And in turn, you find yourself wanting to do the same for them. This exchange of encouragement is not a strategy. It is a natural response to caring. When both people fuel each other's growth, it signals a bond that goes beyond surface interest. Another layer of evidence emerges in emotional sensitivity. When you're with someone who shares your feelings, they notice your mood shifts even before you speak. If you are quiet, they ask if something is wrong. If you are excited, they share in your joy without hesitation. This kind of attunement is not common. It only happens when both hearts are tuned into the same frequency. And when you notice that you also pick up on their emotions just as clearly, it becomes undeniable that something more is unfolding. One of the strongest indicators, often overlooked, is consistency. Attraction that is mutual does not flicker in and out like a candle in the wind. It shows up repeatedly in small gestures and steady presence. They check in, not because they must, but because they want to. They remember your stories, follow up on your challenges, and celebrate your victories. And you do the same for them without thinking twice. That reliability is not accidental. It is proof of shared value. There is also the sense of alignment in vision. When two people feel the same way, their conversations naturally drift toward the future, not in grand declarations, but in subtle inclusions. They might say, "Next time we go there," or "You should join me for that." These small invitations reflect a desire to weave you into their story. And when you find yourself instinctively imagining them in your future as well, it is a powerful confirmation that the feeling is mutual. Another unmistakable sign is ease of vulnerability. You may have walls with others, but with them, those walls seem less necessary. You share not just the polished parts of your life, but the uncertain ones too, and they respond with openness, not judgment. This balance of giving and receiving truth is a rare gift, and it only thrives when both people feel safe in the attraction they share. Perhaps the most powerful sign of all is the quiet peace you feel in their presence. Mutual attraction is not only about excitement, it is also about calm. You may enter their company feeling restless, but you leave with a sense of grounding. They steady you and you steady them. This peace is not fragile. It deepens over time, becoming a space of belonging. It tells you that this is not simply infatuation. It is something that nourishes both souls. When we gather these signs, focus, quiet actions, encouragement, emotional sensitivity, consistency, shared vision, vulnerability, and peace, we see a pattern that speaks louder than declarations ever could. It is a pattern of connection that is alive in the small details of interaction. The important truth is this attraction becomes meaningful not when it is noticed, but when it is honored. Too often, people overlook or second-guess these signals, letting fear silence what their intuition already knows. But when you recognize mutual attraction, you are invited to embrace it with courage. Not every connection leads to permanence, but each genuine bond carries value, teaching us something essential about ourselves and others. Jordan Peterson often emphasizes the importance of responsibility and truth in relationships. Mutual attraction thrives when it is met with honesty, when you acknowledge what you feel rather than hiding it, when you respect the other person's worth instead of treating them as an object of desire. True attraction, when mutual, is not about control. It is about freedom. It is about walking side by side, not out of obligation, but out of recognition that life feels fuller when shared. The final lesson is that mutual attraction should not be rushed. It unfolds in its own time, in its own rhythm. The presence of these signs does not mean you must leap into conclusions. It means you should nurture the connection with patience. Allow it to grow. Allow it to reveal itself more deeply. In doing so, you build not just attraction, but trust. And trust is what transforms attraction into something lasting. So, if you find yourself noticing these signals, pause and be grateful. Recognize the beauty in the fact that someone else sees you as you see them. In a world of countless interactions, that alignment is rare. And when it happens, it reminds us of a truth often forgotten. We are not meant to walk alone. We are meant to meet others who reflect back the parts of us we most need to see. Mutual attraction is not simply about two hearts beating faster. It is about two lives quietly beginning to move in rhythm. It is about recognition, alignment, and the extraordinary possibility of building something real. And if you are fortunate enough to experience it, honor it, because these moments are not ordinary. They are the quiet miracles that make life extraordinary.